Hi, welcome to Ocean Yumi's channel. So today I'm going to actually do a little bit on the Silent Twins. Now the Silent Twins were part of the diaspora group, West Indian group. I think they were Grenadian. Now the Silent Twins caught my eye for a long time before they even turned it into a movie on Netflix. The Silent Twins is actually shows how twins communicate with each other. It actually does show that in a lot of ways. It's quite a scary thing because twins can ideally turn on each other, which is what this did show on on the Netflix as well. I mean, the Silent Twins is one of is renowned. There's a book written about movies, written about them and everything. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a synopsis of the Silent Twins. I'm also going to show their faces so you see who they are if you're not already acquainted with the original Silent Twins. Okay, these are the original Silent Twins. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of their story so you can hear exactly who they are, because those portrayed on the on the um, on the BBC, the BBC, what you call it, adaptation of them. But when such stories like this are told, it's very interesting to actually see the people who is linked to these stories. Now, the Silent Twins, they were put in institutions. They was constantly trying to figure out why they were keeping silent. Why wasn't they saying nothing? Why wasn't they expressing themselves and certain stuff? I think not until the last moment to when one of them passes away, the other one continues to write because they want to be writers. They want to. So I'm going to play a little bit of their story from the BBC point of view.
Silent Twins, film tells of sisters who only spoke to each other. Marjorie Wallace, middle, worked with Jennifer, left, and June, right, to tell their story. The story of identical twins who spoke to no one but each other for years has been brought to life by a new film. June and Jennifer Gibbions were born in April 1963 and grew up in Haverfordwest, Pembrokeshire. They were taken to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security mental health hospital, when they were 19, before Jennifer died at the age of 30. Marjorie Wallace, the film's executive producer, described them as brilliant writers with a great sense of humor. For years, they spoke only to one another and, as teenagers, committed a variety of crimes including vandalism, petty theft and arson, resulting in them being institutionalized indefinitely. They spent 11 years in Broadmoor. Ms. Wallace, an investigative journalist and founder of mental health charity SANE, spent a lot of time with the sisters over the years and still maintains a close relationship with June. In 1993, the sisters were due to be transferred to another location, but Jennifer died in transit. Though her cause of death has never been officially realized, Ms. Wallace said she and June believed Jennifer sacrificed herself so June would be truly liberated. Ms. Wallace is executive producer of the new film, The Silent Twins, which is based on her own book of the same name, originally published in 1986. She told BBC Radio Wales, "I have never really left the story, because I met June and Jennifer when they were 18 years old and have remained with them ever since. In a way, Their story has been my story. We have had our lives intertwined for 40 years. The film is based on the book by Marjorie Wallace, originally published in 1986. For many years, Ms. Wallace would spend weekends visiting the twins at Broadmoor, and worked with them to tell their tale. She said, there were times when the visits were quite sad, but most of the time they were really enjoyable because the twins, despite all their complexities, had the most wonderful sense of humor. Still today, June has this infectious laugh. The real story came from their diaries, 3,000 words a day each about each other and their love-hate relationship. Through reading their diaries, I got to know the story of their pact and what was, finally, the tragedy of their lives. Ms. Wallace said the girls, from a young age, turned their bedroom into a crucible of self-education which she had the opportunity to pick through in order to find their influences and inspirations. They taught themselves and they started to write. They showed real imagination and a great skill. Marjorie Wallace says June Gibbons remains a wonderful friend to this day. Ms. Wallace said their story was a terrible one, but believes both girls knew they could not both live. One of the girls had to die, to sacrifice themselves so the other would be truly liberated, and they decided it would be Jennifer. June was suspended by both grief and liberation. They could not have gone on together. She accepts that with a wonderful sense of resolution, and I find June to be the most wonderful, comforting friend. Ms. Wallace still regularly sees June, and said she was a wonderful person. She has now got peace within herself. I asked her, why did you do it? Only speak to each other. She said, I really do not know. It's a mystery. The Silent Twins is in UK cinemas from the 9th of December.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play them talking because they did actually, I think they actually filmed them at one point. Filmed them at one point at which, let me see if they got it, if he got it. No, I don't think he got it. Okay. Here's a little small interview with one of the twins, I think it is. It's called Living Without a Shadow, Without My Shadow.
We wouldn't be individual.
Little white arms, and then a black one, and then another couple of white arms, then another black one. Now this was different, never seen this before. And so I tried to get them to converse with me, and it was a waste of time.
Literally, we taught them like with names, silly things like chocolate drops and things like that. Yes. So that probably upset them, Mm-hmm.
They were totally expressionless. You spoke to them, they didn't react, they didn't look at you. 13-year-olds tear about the place. Now these two little girls were walking one behind the other, heads down, and as if they're in some sort of a chain gang. I'd never come across anything like it before. I'd met funny people before. I'd met mad people before, kooks and all the rest of it. But I'd never met anything like this.
They were assessed by a child psychiatrist who diagnosed them elective mutes. The school was unable to deal with them, and so at the age of 14, they were transferred to the Eastgate Centre for Special Education. Kathy Arthur, their new teacher, prepared for their arrival.
The reports from the school were scanty and not really terribly helpful. I only heard verbally that they demonstrated dumb insolence, which was not the impression I had at all. and that they were very negative in school and secretive, but there was nothing about their academic level. Oh, and also that they didn't speak at all, the school said, and that it was thought they didn't speak English, but a sort of African click language.
Right, you put your trays in the front there, put your books away.
This unique film of the girls was made by Kathy Arthur to chart the twins' progress at Eastgate. Much of it was filmed secretly through a two-way mirror. She quickly realized that the girls spoke to each other when on their own, and so she hid microphones in the room to record their conversations. Although unintelligible at first, by slowing the tape down, she discovered that their secret language was none other than English.
My name is Jennifer. Right, and again. That's much clearer. Right, let's have it again. My name is Jennifer. Right, you feed this through.
The girls rarely spoke to anyone face to face, but would occasionally respond to a machine or in writing.
My name is Jennifer. Right, good. I'll get the next card. I listen to two of each, and then I leave you to do the others on your own.
We used, I think, every test in the book to try and get an indication of their abilities. And we found that there was a difference in terms of ability, and also that there was a difference in terms of personality.
I don't know how often you plant it. How often is it planted? Is it once a week? Twice a day? Once a month?
Now check this out. The most superior twin, I think, was Jennifer. Jennifer was very superior to June. Like, she will tell June what to do. She will tell June how to behave. In the movie that they did of them, right, you see that she tells her not to move. She says, don't move. Like, you know what I mean? They come down in sequence. They put their coats on hangers, on the hanging in sequence. It's really quite mesmerizing to see, because there's been tests done with twins. There's been videos of twins where, like, they'll put one twin in one part in one room and another twin in another room, and ask the twins to do the same thing, and they will ideally do the same identical thing. So these two definitely had some kind of they were very bonded. They're deeply bonded, and whenever they did stuff, they always did stuff together, you know. Except in the movie, when they get separated, you see when June or Jennifer meets, I can't remember which one, when they meet each other, how she motivates the other one to come out of whatever she's trying to do to her, because she does try to unalive herself. So Jennifer kind of makes her live in a way. When something happened to Jennifer or June, I think June, Jennifer feels it for wherever she is. Now, I don't know whether anybody knows the history of Broadmoor institutions. There's a big history with the Broadmoor institutions, to where these girls are, where they went to. So they wasn't so in most cases, this maybe was the nearest, the kind of best thing out of the other places where they've been, because in school there was being taunted, there's been bullied, and also because of the time to which their parents came to England as well. You know, there's a racist thing as well, which there was very much taunted. So these girls will initially just go into themselves, you know. They just, you know, what you do, you go into your head, you go into your body, you go into yourself, right? You don't hear or see what's around you. You just into yourself, into your mind. And this is what these two girls did. So the bit where he's talking about, where, like, he put a tape in front of them, like, where he would ask them questions so that they can respond, and they never responded at all to the tape, the questions that he asked. So he would do this for numbers of times, because he wanted to diagnose and see what was wrong with them. He wanted to really know what was wrong with what was wrong with the girls. Why was they doing the things that they were doing, why was they not talking? Why was they not communicating? Even to their own parents, there wasn't their own family, there wasn't communicating. That the family broke down because of that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna let this play.
Once a year? No idea. Or perhaps she planted it first day of your life, and that was it. Come on, you tell me, because I don't know. Every day.
Did you like to be known as twins then or not?
Not then, no. When we were children, maybe, yeah. When we got to over teenage age, we decided that we want to be individual. We don't want to be known as twins. We'd rather be individual people with our own mind, our own different personalities.
I've got to go and see Mr. Harry about something.
Now, listen to her. She sounds like she has a hearing impediment. If you know people who are partially deaf, right? Because I was wondering why they was talking like that on the movie as well. When someone's partially deaf, that's how they talk. That's how they talk, you know. I have one friend that I know who talks exactly the same way, funnily enough, because I was trying to figure out what was going on with them, why they was speaking so clenched, like it sounded like clenched teeth talking. I was like, wow, why are they talking like this? Like, but to me, it sounded like they had a slight disability as well, because how she's talking there is like she's half deaf or something's going on. Like, so there's sound like I said, a kind of a disability. But anyway, I'm gonna let them.
And then I'll come and tell you when it's time for dinner. All right? Thank you. That was a good lesson today.
As June and Jennifer became locked in their twinship, they progressively withdrew from their family. In the safety of their bedroom, they created a rich make-believe world of dolls. They spoke only to Rosie, their youngest sister, who shared the room.
Big bedroom, very big. Had a big cupboard in it. That's where the house was, the doll's house. Used to play dolls. Dolls in the...
Are you a woman in your 40s or 50s who've been trying to lose weight for the past few years?
Dolls. Mother doll, father doll, sisters and brothers. I used to like playing dolls. I liked it, yeah. You used to do things on a tape recorder, do plays, dress up in clothes and all that.
The silent girls acted out a life they could only dream of and committed it to tape.
I'm gonna show you where the woman is nice dress. Thank you. Steps going down the steps and see that big door. Hi!
Oh yeah, the acting out of dolls. Oh my gosh, when you see it on the screen, right? Because what I like how they depicted the twins on the screen was when they showed the dolls, the handmade dolls what they had made, and like there was a doctor one, a bird one, and another one, and you see these same voices. I was thinking, what the heck? So I didn't realize it was actually their voices that they was pretending to be the characters. I thought, I don't know what I thought, but all I know is that how when you're looking at them, looking at the story of the twins, right, you are taken into the world of what's going on in their heads and how they see things. When things traumatizing is going on, they will play it out with the toys, they'll play it out with the dolls, they'll play it out with the, you know, in different ways. Like they will take things out on the dolls and they will as well, which they did. But so when I'm hearing this, I think this is the actual tape what they use onto the movie, the movie itself, because it's like a playwright. They playwright. Not like if you listen to BBC BBC Sounds, on BBC Sounds, there is plays like The Archers where people act out. That's what these girls was doing. They was literally acting on whatever dramatically was going on in their life at that time. And maybe it was a kind of a getaway for them as well.
Hi, Neil. So nice to see you. Hi, you. Boy, you look smashing in those clothes. You look lovely in that dress. Don't you? She looks lovely.
We spoke to Rosemary, our sister, up until she was about 11. Then we stopped talking to her as well, and she moved out of the bedroom and moved into her other room, into her own bedroom. So we stopped talking to her, we stopped talking to our sister and brother and our parents.
So you must have been quite upset when they stopped talking.
It was, yeah, really upset.
I said, bye. Gina's mother called after her. What time are you coming back home? About 9 or 10 again. Won't be long anyway. Don't come back too late. I won't. Bye. This enjoyable story was a good story, wasn't it? About 3 girls. Then, Lydia was played by Rosemary. Gina was played by Jennifer. And Nina was played by June. I don't remember who they were. But at the end of this familiar, happy story, and we say goodbye from Nina first. Goodbye. And Gina, goodbye. And Lydia, goodbye. So long. The time is 9:25, and time for the news with Richard Baker.
When we were a family, we didn't eat meals with them. We ate our meals in the bedroom. We couldn't chew in front of people. We couldn't eat food, drink, or do anything like that. That's normal. Normal everything that people do, take for granted. We couldn't do it. We were sensitive.
Wherever possible, the twins will queue and sit together for the meal and will often eat in unison. During meal times, the rest of the children take absolutely no notice of the 2 girls. Although the twins start their dinner at the same time as...
So the twins did have some kind of disability. Just checked it. They had a speech impediment. Our parents couldn't understand a word that we were saying. Nobody understood. So we stopped talking. The Gibbions children were the only black children in the community and were often ostracized at school. So they had a hearing impediment. I found a rare copy of... okay, let me see what this is saying. So let me see, what else is it saying? Okay, so these girls was born of Barbadian immigrant parents, and in 1963, June and Jennifer, the third and fourth of which eventually be 5 children, was noticeably different from their peers, almost from birth. The infants thought to be breastfed simultaneously. When they entered a school in Welsh village at 4 years old, they were resented by 8. By 8, though they read and wrote profoundly, they had simply stopped speaking to their teachers and classmates, and even eventually their parents, beyond a few nonverbal noises and monosonic answers to routine answers. I'm going to play this actually, make it easier for myself.
I found a rare copy of June Alice. Shortly after I first began working at the British Library, I knew that I'd use my newfound access to 150 million Media Objects magazine articles, oral history recordings and books, many of them rare, to get my hands on The Pepsi-Cola Addict, the sole novel by June Allison Gibbons, one half of the infamous Silent Twins. Connoisseurs of weird crime stories, or weird twin stories, for that matter, or the surprisingly rich subgenre of weird twin crime stories can do no better than the bizarre. Born on an RAF base to Barbadian immigrant parents in 1963, June and Jennifer, the third and fourth of what would eventually be 5 children, were noticeably different from their peers almost from birth. The infants fought to be breastfed simultaneously. When they entered school in a Welsh village at 4 years old, they were reticent, but by 8, though they read and wrote proficiently, they had simply stopped speaking to their teachers, classmates, and even their parents, beyond a few nonverbal noises and monosyllabic answers to routine questions. Shyness, writes journalist Marjorie Wallace in her definitive book The Silent Twins, became the charitable explanation for their speechlessness, though many felt something more sinister was going on. The most common theory was that Jennifer, the younger by 10 minutes and widely considered the less intelligent, was controlling her sister. Jennifer was stopping June, a therapist who treated the girls told Wallace. I watched and could barely detect the slightest eye movement, but I know she was stopping June. One teacher even went so far as to label Jennifer evil. June and Jennifer did speak to each other in what sounded like rapid-fire gibberish, but they would cease even that if anyone else entered the room. Eventually, a specialist in elective mutism determined, after slowing down audio recordings she had made of their discourse, that the twins were speaking regular English but so quickly that it was unrecognizable to the average listener. It's not uncommon for twins to develop their own language, it is rare that they become as fiercely codependent as the Gibbions girls did. They moved in languid tandem. The only physical activity they seemed to perform with any ease was horseback riding, but if one fell off, the other would immediately follow suit. When they were bullied, which, as the only black kids in town, they likely would have been even had they not behaved so oddly, they huddled together, with their arms on each other's shoulders, as if to erect a little fortress of two. An attempt by the special high school they attended to separate them went disastrously. June, who was temporarily moved to a psychiatric hospital while her sister remained at home, stopped eating and moving, even to wipe away the steady stream of tears that ran down her face. After the girls left school as 16 as they were hopelessly unemployable, they were advised to go straight on Britain's version of disability. They developed an even more elaborative fantasy world populated by dolls, who they cast as American teenagers who ate Big Macs, rode Greyhound buses and occasionally robbed convenience stores. Through the dolls, the twins developed a taste for elaborate storytelling, and soon they were sending in for creative writing correspondence courses. Writing became an all-consuming passion for the twins, who stayed awake until the wee hours, ensconced in their bedroom, tapping their short stories about American teens running wild on an old typewriter, which they undoubtedly took turns using. They were meticulous in their study of literature, dogged in their attempts to get their work published. Article continues after advertisement. Remove ads. The analysis is easy. Feeling ill-equipped to communicate directly with others using their voices, the girls poured themselves into their art in hopes the world would see its merit and reach an arm back to them. It's a desperate impulse any writer can sympathize with. Over the course of their lives, they wrote dozens of short stories and a handful of novellas between them, including June's The Pepsi Cola Addict, published originally in 1982 by British vanity press New Horizons. She paid around £980 sterling, in installments of £80 a month. Jennifer contributed from her welfare check. At present, it is the only accessible work authored by either Gibbons twin. And that's saying a lot. The Pepsi Cola Addict is unavailable for purchase full stop these days, and apparently fewer than 5 libraries in the world have a copy. On Goodreads, 730 people have added it as to read since it was first listed on the site in 2007. Only 26 purport to have seen it, a few of them by snagging a photocopy. Oh my God, I cannot believe I have a copy of this book, writes a BBC radio producer. One pissed commenter shot back, "Stop telling us how much you loved reading the book and put a copy online. Please." Flouting copyright laws, a few readers who managed to track down the book have scanned the pages, and sent them out into the world as if distributing samized ads. I feel almost a little bad at not having suffered more for my prize. I first heard about it in a 2007 Guardian article, about an opera, the second of two, based on the life of the twins. Occasionally over the years, I did a cursory search for it, but the longing to read their works wasn't something that kept me up at night. And then I found myself in Humanities 1, holding a rather shoddily constructed copy of my very own. So what's it like? In a sense, the Pepsi-Cola addict conforms to the basic addiction narrative, dependence, followed by rock bottom, but ending on a cautionary note, rather than a promise of redemption. A 14-year-old student at Malibu State School, Preston Wildy King, is, you guessed it, completely hooked on Pepsi-Cola, which he has nicknamed the High Life. The champagne of soda pops. Like any user, he drowns out his feelings with his drug of choice, and oh, does he have a lot to feel about. His dad is dead, for one thing, and his sister's a mean slut. Mostly, though, his troubles are romantic. He is still painfully in love with his coy ex Peggy, a wholesome cheerleader who dumped him because of his nasty soda habit, while Peggy's little sister, Preston's best guy friend Ryan, and Preston's math teacher, to whom he loses his virginity, are all in love with him, but he can't blame them, because he understands he is attractive to everybody he comes into contact with. At the beginning of the book, Preston's up to 300 cans of Pepsi a day. That's 45,000 calories and 12,300 grams of sugar, if you're counting. He draws cans of Pepsi in art class, that is, when he's not sneaking out of the classroom to quench his thirst. He loses his temper when Peggy dares to buy him Coca-Cola instead of Pepsi, as if he were a dope fiend whose dealer switched his black tar heroin with hash.
Just found the book. Literally found the book. So this is a short piece from the book, what they wrote, or what June Alison Gibbons wrote. He walked into a turbulent supermarket. There were people everywhere. His eyes swept over the shelves and stabilized on a large stack of Pepsi Cola. He could almost experience the cool, fizzy liquid descending his parched throat. Feeling a heavy hand on his shoulder, he turned around to meet the intellectual face of Mr. Rodell, one of the store clerks. Same as usual, huh? I have them in bulk, please. You into some kind of party? He complained. Sorry, my bad. My dyslexia kicks in now and again. He accompanied Mr. Rowland to the drinks quarter. I give you a box. Okay, sure. Extravagantly into his Wagler jacket, he produced a $5 note. Thanks, son. Have a nice day. Carrying the hefty box along with the sandy sidewalk, he decided right now to sit down and open a can of Pepsi and take a large swig. When he reached home, he directly went to the refrigerator and arranged the 32 cans of Pepsi lengthwise on the exposed shelves. Then, taking 3 cans with him, he headed for his room. He reclined on his bed. Preston Wheatley King was a tiny shouldered, narrow-waisted boy with the muscular lenses and effortless grace of an athlete. His hair was brown, his eyes brown too. They slanted downwards to give his gritted face a particular oriental expression. The tenement in which he lived with his mother and sister was eventually too hot and too cold. This room remained suffocatingly hot with the contained heat of the day. Preston was thinking he was cold. His head felt nostalgic and dizzy. It resembled ice. He thought he wouldn't mind if he lived in Arizona or even Hawaii. They lived on cool beverages and didn't care what you did, sitting in his own pad, sipping 300 cans of Pepsi Cola every day. The thought made him thirsty. He was thirsty. He swallowed some more Pepsi Cola and shifted his position, and his eyes commended to the commenced to wander around. This was a subtle color in his room. Stable bricks, beside yellow brimstone drawers, beside wood painted lived red. There was red in the faces too, overlapping, blending, clashing, so that the entire room displayed a wall of zany pop singers. Styled impressed his thoughts in the form of pink graffiti that illuminated the name Peggy. 10 times on the freshly painted white door. Since the baseball match, Preston had never felt so resilient. The thoughts of the fresh and wholesome cheerleader threatened to dominate his thoughts on Pepsi Cola, so he repressed his love and drank his inedible life safer. When Peggy fell for a super jock in grade 8, he was emotionally turned inside out, and Preston, nonchalant about his aspect of life, was probably accountable, turning into a Pepsi Cola addict. At 14 years old, wherever he turned, he somehow failed to develop any sense of adventure and remained subsequently serene with the drink. He called the high life to him, and Pepsi Cola was like a shallow water to fish. That's a little bit of her book. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the interview with June Gibbons. Oh, let's go. Hold on. Let me go back to it.
During meal times, the rest of the children take absolutely no notice of the two girls. Although the twins start their dinner at the same time as the other children, the amount of food they put on the fork and the speed at which they eat is so slow that while everyone else is finishing their second course and leaving the dining room, the twins are still busy with their first.
My relationship with Jennifer was quite turbulent. It was a big struggle to be an individual, being a twin. If we can't find the right step to break out and be yourself, we never will. They were stuck up being twin.
The idea of separation came really from the girls. It was something they wrote about a lot, and they would always say, we will talk if we're separated, we'll walk normally, we'll eat normally, we'll do all these things if we're separated.
It would be a good idea if we separate. I think one should go and one should stay here. We act stupid when we're together. Some people think we don't want to separate, but we want to, because it really is the best thing for us.
It would be good if we separate. We both fight for the best things. We're both willing to lead our own lives, but when we're together, we just keep depending on each other too much.
We tried it on the basis then of getting the girls to decide which of them was going to move. And it was the only bit of power that we ever had, in a way, that we put the decision back onto them. One of you's going.
But that was just so bitter, so harsh, because it's like, right, it's like the girls didn't want to choose but any of them to go. So the staff decided to take one of them like just moved. I think they just moved her out. But even during the separation, like he said, she didn't move. She just kept crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And it's like she was still torturing herself. So let's see. That's what he's going to say.
Away, you have to decide who it's to be. And that created a tremendous anger between the girls.
We said, well, I'm not going to come often. You go. No, I'm not going to come often. You go and I go. You stay in Eastgate and I go to come often. Then the next day, I go to come often and you stay in Eastgate. Then the next day, let's both go to come often. Let's both stay in Eastgate.
They were shouting at one another. And people couldn't believe it, because here you had the girls who'd been quiet, nothing coming through. And then you had this tremendous uproar and noise and violence towards one another. As Jennifer saying to June, you are Jennifer, you are Jennifer. And this is quite extraordinary. It gave us an insight into the relationship which we'd never had before.
Somewhere I have a real twin in the world.
That sounded like a love. It's like a love-hate relationship with your own self. Like there's two sides of the coin to you as a person, to you as a person. If you think of yourself as a twin, there's one side that is the more dominated side, and the other side is more the softer side, which the side is what is projected to the people on the outside of world. So this is what I think the twins represent, and also what is seen and how people are seen, and how if you was one of two, how would it be? Would you be the dominated one, or would you be the soft one? Because remember, Jennifer was she was very dominated, even though it sounds to me that it was like they swapped the domination between each other. One side will take the domination road, the other side will be soft. So when you're thinking that June is the soft one, June would be the dominated one, who will also be dominating the other twin. So this does literally happen in some twins. This happens in some twins.
June can't be my real twin. My real twin was born the exact time as me, has my rising sign, my looks, my ways, my dreams, my ambitions. He or she will have my weaknesses, failures, opinions. All this makes a twin. No differences. I can't stand differences. June hasn't got my mind, my looks, not even my build. My mother, when once she measured us, told me I was slightly taller than June. I was not exactly pleased.
I felt that June would cope better with the separation because she was the more malleable, because she seemed to, of the two of them, have a few inner resources, whereas I felt that Jennifer had no inner resources whatsoever.
It's about me. My whole life is about me. My me to be the one that has to do this and that first. So I say, I'm not leaving the home to get a coffin first. Remind me first. But I got into Jennifer first. Remind me all the time. My whole life is by me. That's my life story. Remind me.
June had stopped eating. She'd stopped moving. She'd stopped dressing herself. And she would sit on her bed in the morning, having, I don't know whether she'd slept. She certainly hadn't undressed. Having laid on the bed next day with liquid from her nose and her eyes and her mouth hanging in a great beard down to here, with the unit staff mopping her face, not speaking, not going to the toilet. I mean, obviously, we had to say, enough's enough. People said the twins' behaviour is a game.
Can you imagine how torture that was? Can you imagine? I could not imagine that at all. Hold on, I've got to stop this thing and do it over. Hold on, let me do it over. It's so torturing that is. They tortured themselves. That's why it came over to me. Gonna get back to the screen. Hold on. Because we just did a whole totally strange thing. Okay. Oh my goodness, I keep doing this. I keep doing silliness. Anyways, hold on. Let me get back. Let's get back to the screen. I'm just going to let it play a little bit more because there's so much there. There's so much there in that because all what I'm seeing, that what is being portrayed there, all that is portrayed in the movie. All this behavior that is going on, that's all what's portrayed in the movie, in the well, it's a movie, the adaptation of the twins, because these twins, like, you know, when they're saying that how right, they simultaneously started feeding on the breast together says a lot. So I'm gonna let it play because I like how Jennifer's explaining how she felt that one had to go. One was like for one to survive or for June to survive. You know, that's so like these stories in
adults around them could see where it was going to lead them. And you could see from the film that the girls couldn't break out of it. It was the extreme distress that June displayed that led to the breakdown of the separation. We failed them, but I can't really, casting my mind back, think what else we could have done.
My feeling was of really impending disaster. And I think my colleague, Dr. Evan Davis, was saying things like, when they get to 16 and 17, they'll get picked up by an adult psychiatrist who will immediately categorize them as schizophrenic and want to incarcerate them on that basis.
We wondered where we'd end up. We wondered what would happen to us if we didn't speak. Because when we were 16, we were in our bedroom and we weren't mixing like other teenagers, going out, nightclubbing and going to discos. So we wondered where we would end up, whether we would end up staying in our bedroom right through our 20s, writing books, or whether we would go out, make friends, and get married, have kids. It wasn't to be, was it?
Now aged 16, June and Jennifer left Eastgate and school altogether. For the next 2 years, they left their private world only to sign on the dole. Lonely and isolated, they found pen pals all over the world and spied on life outside through binoculars. Paralyzed by an unspoken pact to remain silent, the girls sought an answer to their predicament.
We sent away for a course. It was called The Art of Conversation. So we got the course, paid for it, and done it. Trying to talk to a family, of course, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
So what did the course tell you to do?
It said how to communicate to your family, how to communicate to people, and say the right words at the right time, how to be friendly, how to talk and say the right sentences, and speak at the right time. What to say. Not nice day, isn't it? Or nice weather, isn't it? But we didn't do it. We tried our best, but we couldn't do it. Too hard. We were stuck in a rut now, and that rut will continue for a long time. We couldn't break the habit.
New sounds now emerged from behind the firmly shut door of the bedroom. The twins had decided to become novelists.
All night long, typing our books out. Adamant that we were going to be writers of some sort. We couldn't speak and express ourselves. We would express ourselves in our books.
Do you know, I just read the whole thing. I didn't even realise my mic was off. But anyways, I will get back to what I was reading earlier, and I'll show you the example of what I was talking about. You know, I was going to say whatever, but what I was talking about.
And we had to do something to make the family feel proud of us. Write books. There's something to be proud of, isn't it? We can't speak, can't contribute in a normal way. We do it in a different way. Write books and be bestsellers and let our family feel proud of us. Now the twins have written books and famous, and it's so nice.
There was subtle colour in his bedroom, sable bricks beside yellow brimstone drawers, beside wood painted livid red. There was colour in the faces too, overlapping, blending and clashing, so that the entire room displayed a world
Teenagers all around, jumping on top of each other, pulling anybody to the floor with salacious frenzy. They screamed loudly to the music, pulling out blades and stabbing their best friends to death.
By the summer of 1981, the twins were 18. They had filled countless notebooks and diaries with their hopes, fears, and ambitions. They could bear their self-imposed imprisonment no longer. It was time to leave the bedroom.
Oh, baby. Just gotta get out. Just gotta go right out of town.
2 American brothers had come to the girls' attention at Eastgate. Highly disturbed, the boys had committed arson and theft. America had long held a fascination for the twins. They became obsessed by the boys and went in search of them.
We fell in love with them. All of them. Her family. All American boys. So we fell in love with them and we became besotted over them. So every day we get up in the morning, we go out and see them. All the way to West Hook. We had £19 girl money a week. I was spending all the money on taxi fares. So come rain, come shine, we'd be out there, dressed up, makeup, hats, wigs, whatever, clothes. I would say, look at the West Hook and see the boys.
The twins interpreted the boys' responses as love. A new world was introduced to them of sex, drugs, and alcohol, which brought about an unexpected result.
I felt like a release. Okay, we speak now and be ourselves. Lose our inhibitions and be ourselves and come out and speak properly and laugh and talk like normal teenagers. And we come back about midnight at night time, tumble back drunk into the house upstairs, about our diaries, say what we've done in the diaries. Then we say, let's go out again.
God knows what memories would be mine had that summer not told me the secrets of love, passion and sex. They are all there in my mind like a string of golden flashes. Somebody gave me an opportunity to do something about my life, and I took it, as a child will take candy.
The American boys, I'm sure, would have abused them, would have taken advantage of them, would have bullied them. I felt the boys were very destructive and damaged individuals. And if they'd been involved with them, I was very fearful.
As the girls vied for the attentions of the boys, the struggle between them intensified and grew violent.
I'm not ashamed to say that I tried to kill my sister. Things got out of hand. I did not succeed in strangling her with the wire.
Oh gosh, the scene of them lot fighting on the road when they came from the boys' house is crazy. The fight literally turned into like, I don't know. It's so strange because Jennifer, the way how Jennifer was hitting her sister, I was like, bloody hell. It's like the way she hit her, and then the fight till they were struggling on the floor, right? They're struggling on the floor. And it's like you see one of them sitting on the other one, like she's just about to, unalive her. It's just like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she's going to unalive her sister. She literally is going to unalive her sister on the street. And it's like she says, okay, stop. It's like I still think that how right June was trying to show her sister that I'm not as soft as I am. I'm not soft, but it's just the way it was. Oh, it was something else.
To the radio. I'm sure she wanted to kill me too. I have a grave feeling she did.
We're fighting. I pushed her in the river. I said to myself, if I kill her now, maybe I'll have a happy life. No more hassle, no more stealing my personality, no more fighting, no more arguing. Get it over with. I pushed her in the river and I pushed her and held her down. I said, right, go and die.
She did not succeed, for I spluttered free from her grip. We yelled abuse at one another. We brought old stories out from the past. Silly things, though. My mind was a mass of tangles. I felt crazy. Later, we cooled down.
Notwithstanding their battles, the twins felt happy, alive, and in love for the first time ever.
That's the summer of my life, that was. That's the best summer we ever had. The best summer and the last summer outside. That summer must have been the last summer we had for 12 years outside in the real world.
Their newfound happiness was short-lived.
One day when they were out, we broke into the house. We found the card and it said, going back to America on July the 7th. And that broke our hearts. So we said, oh, they're leaving us. July the 7th, they're leaving us. What are we going to do when you're gone?
Jennifer and I are now desolation, searching wide-open deserted places, a craving subconscious for love and sex that wasn't there, the aftermath, the recovering, and then a new phase. Jennifer and I stayed in our own environment. We needed a rest.
But it wasn't long before they ventured out again.
In September, we said we started going out at night time, nightlife, hanging about streets, looking for trouble.
Dear Diary, my nature has turned to crime. I'm a labelled thief, but haven't I always been one? All this week, I've been wanting to burn down the tractor store in Snowdrop Lane. I burned it down today, with the help of Jennifer, of course. The greatest moment of my life. We opened all the cans of petrol and spread it everywhere. Can you believe that I'm the arsonist of Haverfordwest? Yes, I am. I'm going to burn down the whole damn town. Oh, yes, I am. You can bet your heart about that. Firemen were everywhere, running everywhere, trying to smash a window to get in. All the while, my lovely, glorious fire was licking its way through the roof, and the thick smoke filled the night sky. A picture that will live in my mind forever. Oh, what a sinful, evil, selfish mind. I know the Lord will forgive me. It's been a long, painful, hard year. Don't I deserve to express my distress? Wouldn't it be great to see this in the papers? Police are looking for an arsonist. Well, of course they are. She lives right here in Fursey Park. Isn't it ludicrous? Perhaps the cops know who it is. This will go on until they catch me. I sometimes wonder if I'll be spending my first Christmas in jail.
The same day we got caught, it was full moon it was. I said to Jennifer, is it wise going out on a full moon? We might get caught. the full moon day, but didn't happen in the full moon. He said, stay where you are, you're under arrest. That was it. Our life had ended. In what that inspector with our diaries. That's it. Finished. You done it. You've been here. You are not asking how.
They caught him out because of the diaries, because they wrote everything in the diary. So that's how they caught him out as well.
Arrest. So you're not asking us then. We caught you by diaries.
The twins remained in Pucklechurch for 7 months awaiting trial. Silent once more, their diaries alone bore witness to their feelings.
My darling mother, a woman who did not deserve all this, who grew up and married a man who raised a family of twins, twins who were to cause all the trouble, anxiety and misery in her innocent life. How could she possibly forgive? How can she ever say she loves us and then look back on her troublesome past? Her anguish, her heart is broken. It doesn't seem. So I feel that this is their only way they can let off their feelings and their inner thoughts. You know, when people talk about their real inner thoughts, and the fact that she's writing to her mum, that is something else. You know, because like when you can't talk to your parents, right, you'd want them to know how you're feeling. So I like how she's writing to her mum and telling her how disappointed they are. That's very descriptive there. Now everything's flowing up. Hold up a minute. Seem able to mend. With God's help, it will. My mother is lost. My father seems on the way. I want them back in my heart.
The twins found life unbearable together and unbearable apart. They shared a cell, fought, and were parted. Inconsolable, they were reunited, only to fight and be parted once again. Trapped in this self-perpetuating cycle, they could not or would not talk to anyone but each other. Their behavior mystified the doctors and lawyers assigned to them, who had to resort to unusual means of communication.
We managed to get rigged up an internal telephone within Pucklechurch, and they did agree to some speech on the telephone. And one was able to get a little more information on the basis of that.
We talked to the doctor about life. Jennifer told him about how she hears voices, sees visions, and wants to kill me. I told him how sensitive I am, how I pick up people's moods, have dreams and premonitions. He's puzzled at our non-communication with my parents. Haven't spoken sensibly to them since the beginning of my teenage years. I said it was a habit. He wasn't impressed. He thought we were perfectly capable of talking, but I said I'm too withdrawn. Jennifer is more withdrawn than me. She needs more help. I told him I'd like to kill her. I would strangle her. She told him how we attempted to drown each other in the river. I said that only one of us should have been born. Life would have been smoother.
As the time went by, you had this feeling of a certain inevitability of what was going to happen, because they were being dealt with by an adult psychiatrist who would have had his own opinion about what the problem would have been. And then I felt that they were still children, really.
I think what I was seeing, in fact, was prodromal schizophrenia. That means that, in other words, they probably had their exacerbation of their behavior disorder was, in fact, an early stage of a schizophrenic illness which hadn't yet become manifest and did become manifest a year or two later.
Spry, crisp and dry is what we labelled him. He came to see us about our lives and saying we'd like to come to a hospital called Broadmoor. And he had heard of Broadmoor? No. He never had a Broadmoor? We no. Want you want to go there? Yeah. I want to go there for a while. But 3 years. See how you get on. If we get there, we can go then. Get released. Yeah, we go for 3 years. No more. Just 3 years.
I see visions of Broadmoor on a warm, sunny May day. What will I be doing next year? Probably sitting outside on a lawn, sipping lemonade. Nurses in white walking around, lounging around, and I'd be free to sit there, perhaps sewing or knitting. Still young, but more mature, more communicative, more flexible.
The advice that had come back from the professionals was that these children were psychopathic arsonists, that they were dangerous, both to themselves and to the society at large. And this certainly didn't match up with my feelings in the matter at all. And the parents were unaware of what was going on and were happy to leave the matter in the hands of British justice, in which they had enormous faith.
I think it's a shame that the parents were so shamed. And then, like, I mean, fair enough, he said that how they didn't know how to handle it. It's the shame, innit, of it, of all of it all. Your children's being arsonists, the children's doing so much things, and you cannot do nothing. Because in those days, parents was very proud. When you do certain stuff, it comes back to our house kind of situation. This is how West Indian parents are, particularly. Like, you know, it's like a stain onto our house. So that's why I feel why they left it in the hands of the hospital, because it was like they were losing any which way anyway, you know, and it was kind of like out of their hands, even though the mum probably could have done more to get certain stuff done. But it seemed like every time something, she seemed like she did something, it seemed like it wasn't accepted by the girls. The girls will fight against her in that way. So I feel that's why the mum let the mum and the dad allow the British hospitals or the English hospitals to deal with them. But it could have been much worse, because they could have did electronic work, you know, when they attached the thing to the head and done a, I forget what's it called. It's I forgot the name, where they attach the things to your head and they shock, thinking that how this will help the psychotic, whatever's going on with the person, when in fact all it does, turns them into vegetables. So luckily for them, it didn't go down that road, right? But even though these hospitals as well are not safe neither, because, like, you know, when you're vulnerable and you're a young person, you don't know what can happen in there as a young lady or boy. Because we heard stories of these things happening in certain institutions around about this time when stuff was going on. So I mean, that was a brave thing what the parents did by putting everything into the hands of the NHS, the hospitals of the time.
Possibility of their going to prison would have been in their worst interest. They would have had a long prison sentence for the crimes that they had committed, and they would have gone to prison and been no better, had no treatment, and this would have left a situation in which they would have come out far worse than they would have gone in. I thought that they were in need of treatment. They had been in need of treatment, I thought, for 4 or 5 years before I saw them. Unfortunately, the only place that they could have treatment was in a secure environment.
Why Broadmoor?
That was the only hospital that would accept them.
Persuaded that Broadmoor was the answer to all their problems, the girls...
And I think the only reason why they accepted them, because one, I mean, it's also to do with racial profiling as well. That's why I feel that how they sent them to Broadmoor. Not only that, right, they've gained a reputation in the hospital of being not able for people to get through to them, not being able to communicate. They already blocked off how many people, only 1 or 2 people can get through to them on a whole. So but like I said, Broadmoor is one of the notorious places where most people was sent in history, particularly. So the fact that they sent him there as well is interesting, that was the only place we'll take them. But I just feel that how maybe they reached to a point where they saw that how they could not get these girls to talk, or the girls would not communicate particularly, or will not be able to, where the girls don't communicate to other people other than themselves, other than inside of the two, right, which is the yin and the yang. So that's what I feel as well.
Were happy to plead guilty to their crimes.
Jude, I think Gibbons plead guilty or not guilty. And I said guilty. Jude and Valerian Gibbons plead guilty or not guilty. Guilty. All right, therefore I put you in the care of Broadmoor Hospital, where you will stay until you get better. There you stay there indefinitely until you get better. We said, yeah. All right.
Dad turned to me and said, "What does indefinite period mean?" And I had to say, well, you know, they'll be there for a very, very long time. And I think it is at that stage that Mr. and Mrs. Gibbons really realized what was happening. And by 3 o'clock, it was all over. They went down to say goodbye to June and Jennifer, and then we went out into the gardens opposite. And I think we were all pretty traumatized by it all. It was over so quickly. And the defense called one witness, and that was Dr. Hamilton from Broadmoor. There was no other witnesses called for the defense.
In a few hours, I shall be driving out of Pucklechurch gates for the last time. I shall be taken further to the land of hope and glory. There I shall stand in my flowered skirt and black jacket, aged 19 years. And one day I will look back on that day, Monday the 21st of June, and what will I think? All I will see is my sister and me, as vulnerable as flowers in hell, unimportant yet important, flying towards another phase of life.
The reality did not match the anticipation.
My first impression was it was a big place, and there's so many people there, too many people on the ward to cope with, too many people. And the ward was too big, too many people on the ward. So I said, I can't cope here, too many people on the ward. Can't speak, can't cope.
Quite a forbidden place, Broadmoor. When we first started going there, there's a long queue, and you sign in and sign out, and you're going through all these locked doors and all that.
Okay, so this is the twins' dad talking right now. Okay, he's talking and he's telling you the process of him going to see his daughters. Right? So I'm gonna let him play.
Of course, you know, you say to yourself, "By hell, what are you doing here?" You know. So, but of course, then you got two daughters in there, so you know it was bad. Of course, the worst thing for me was when you had to leave them. You know, you give them a hug and kiss and all that. And then they were walking in the distance. I think for me that was the hardest part. You know that they'd still be there. You know.
Aubrey was very distressed by it all because he felt here were his two daughters who were growing up, going through adulthood in somewhere like Broadmoor. And he would say, well, imagine how you would feel if your daughters were in somewhere like that and going to a disco on a Saturday night with people like Peter Sutcliffe there.
June and Jennifer were kept on separate wards. After 2 years, they were still not speaking. Now officially diagnosed as schizophrenics, they were given tranquilizers and other drugs. They began to speak.
They gave us a tranquilizer every week, 300 milligrams a week. And we lost our shyness. We got a hazy feeling on the head, a numb feeling in the mind, which made us forget our shyness and our consciousness until we forgot ourselves and we started speaking.
Well, to tell the truth, I don't think the twins were really mental. They were just like maybe a bit disturbing by not able to speak and things like that, you know. But in the words mental, I don't think they were up to this day.
I love hearing the mum talk like this, like, because, like, you know, like, you don't expect your child to have a mental disability or as well, so that you have to come to grips with that child's mental disability. Schizophrenia is one of the most biggest things, especially over here, that happens over in England, as well as other places. I mean, I would think, but that meant the mental institutions used to always have bad reputations where they would treat black patients not well, not good at all. That some of them will come out and they'll be like in a haze, like that haze what she talks about. You would see that haze on certain faces, like when they come out of these institutions. Now, when I was doing my caring course, I remember when they went through about an institution as well, so which I might talk about, might bring it forward on this, because a lot of things that I seem to talk about always come back to certain stories which comes in my head, where it seems like they took a drastic measure for the girls. It was a bit drastic, and that's what I think the mom is thinking from that point of view, how drastic it was that they sent her to Broadmoor, where Ian Sutcliffe, of all people, was in that Broadmoor. That's why I said there's a big history, especially to do with certain killers in this particular place. Yeah.
No. Because the letters they wrote to me, no mental person write those. No.
My dear Mum, hello, how are you? I'm all right. I hope you and Dad are in good health and spirits. I'm writing this letter on the day of your wedding anniversary. I hope you received the card all right, and I hope you like the photograph which I sent.
My dear Mum, hello, thanks for your letter. I hope your cold will soon go away. Got some good news for you. They had a long meeting about the two of us on Friday. I was hoping we'd be on the same ward, but it doesn't matter.
And they used to write daily to each other. Letters, exchange letters when they were in Broadmoor. Well, as they were in different wards, one would tell the other what was going on in her ward, and the other, correspond to each other. And then they'll visit each other. They were allowed to visit. In the evenings, June would come over to Jennifer, or the other way around.
Dearest Jennifer, I've just phoned Dad and now I'm sitting quietly and nonchalantly. My mind is numb and I'm relaxing. When our time comes, we'll get out of this place, but by the grace of God, it will be next April. So cling on to this hope. And as the month tells us, we'll be out on All Fool's Day. When I look at you, I see myself. And when you look at me, you see yourself. Love, June.
My dear June, I agree a lot with you about we two being old spinsters left on the shelf, because to be honest, I've had enough of men. Any relationship always ends for me. I can do without them. You are my only relationship, like sister to sister. I know I'll die young and way before you, but it doesn't really matter. I only hope you'll be happy still. Love, Jen.
Yeah, this passing away young. Yeah, I think I'm gonna read it again. Okay, I'm gonna read it again because I think my mic was down. Let me see my mic. My mic was down when I read it. You see, when she made that statement, it's like she knew that her time was coming. However, the thing what she passed with, I cannot even pronounce that one, but which is sad. But I'm just gonna do a little bit of that time when she said she was passing. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. She had inflammation to the heart when she passed, that sister. So it also took years of writing to the Home Office before the twins would be moved to a lower security hospital after 11 years at Broadmoor in 1993. But there was a tragic twist for the sisters during their move nearer to West Wales home. June thought her sister was joking when she said, "I think I'm going to die soon." As we got into the minibus, June said, "At last we are out of Broadmoor," June recalled. "We plan to keep talking to each other and we mustn't fight and argue and make a mess of it this time." We kept saying to each other, "Be happy." But when they arrived at Cus Road Clinic, they noticed Jennifer was under the weather and took a turn for the worse. We knew very early on that there was a psychotic condition, but didn't know what the medical condition was either, recalled June. They couldn't make sense of it. This young woman, who apparently several hours earlier had been right as rain and was dying slowly in front of her eyes, but they couldn't work out why. The inquest later found out that Jennifer died of natural causes due to an acute. Let me put it on. Let me put what she passed as, because I cannot not for the life of me say that word, and it's bothering me so much. Oh, that's not it. Okay, let me get it again. So inflammation to the heart. You see, acute. So she must have had chest pain. She must have had chest pain. Let me see if I can get a little bit of it so you can hear what she passed away with.
An official website of the United States government. Acute myocarditis. Continuing education. Myocarditis refers to the inflammation of the myocardium, resulting in tissue degeneration or necrosis. Previously known as inflammatory myocarditis, it typically affects younger people. Myocarditis is classified as acute, fulminant, chronic active, or chronic persistent. Acute myocarditis constitutes most cases of myocarditis, 65%, and is mainly caused by a viral illness. It may less commonly be caused by non-infectious etiologies. There can either be a focal or diffuse involvement of the myocardium. The clinical presentation is variable and includes febrile illness, mild chest pain, arrhythmias, heart failure, cardiogenic shock, or death. The clinical diagnosis is often challenging, and the management is usually supportive. 2-3-4. Etiology. The causes of acute myocarditis are broadly classified into infectious and non-infectious categories. In most cases, 50%, no cause can be identified, idiopathic. The most implicated etiology in patients with an identified cause is a viral infection. 5. Infectious causes. 1. Virus. Coxsackie and echoviruses are the most common cardiotropic viruses causing myocarditis. Other viral pathogens include the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, adenovirus, hepatitis B and C, parvovirus B19, poliovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, etc. 6. 2. Bacteria. Bacteria notorious for causing myocarditis include Legionella, Staphylococci, Salmonella, Shigella, Streptococci, Clostridium, tuberculosis, etc. 3. Parasites, trichinosis, schistosomiasis. 4. Protozoa, Trypanosoma cruzi, causative agent of Chagas disease, and Toxoplasmosis gondii. 5. Spirochates, Borrelia burgdorferi. Non-infectious causes.
Okay, so that's what this young lady passed with, acute myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart muscle.
Jenny.
Now communicating freely, the twins couldn't understand why they weren't released.
We create tribunals, hearings, court hearings every year. And they say, well, Gibbons friends still need a bit of progress. We keep them in for a couple of years. And we say, a couple of years? What's going on? We're normal. So this next year, they say, and the girls can make a little bit more progress. We'll keep them here for another year. Then another year after that. Then another year. Then another year. Then another year. Until it's 12 years.
We are forgotten, faded away, never to be seen again. What sort of day will it be when I walk free? What kind of weather? How old will I be? Jennifer and I are two twins of history, coloured girls. Life will go on outside, passing away, memories of our trial, of our case. Where are we now, they will say? What do they look like now? And one day we'll be quietly, secretly released, mature women. All things must end, new things begin.
In March 1993, a month before their 30th birthday, they finally received permission for transfer from Broadmoor to Caswell Clinic, a medium secure unit in Wales. The first step on their road to freedom. The day before they travelled, Jennifer felt unwell.
She complained of being weak and tired. So I'd forgotten the minibus to go. She was a bit tired. She had a bit of head on my shoulder. And I said, and then she said, at last, we're out of Broadmoor.
I was at home and I was the phone went about 9 o'clock at night, and it was Aubrey, to say that Jennifer had died. And
Jennifer died of acute myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle, a rare disorder that is seldom fatal.
I always remember this day, our first sight of Jennifer laying in the hospital morgue. You know, it was devastating. There she was, you know, lying peacefully, but I still have bits of this testy on her forehead. I don't know, the bits and pieces they put on them when they're doing this test, you know. But it was shocking.
And I said, "Can I see her?" I was lying there in hospital bed, lying there quite stiff. And they left me in there half an hour. Her hat was on the sideboard, and her earrings were on the sideboard. So I took the hat and the earrings, and I kept them to this day. And the dress that she was wearing, I kept that as well, as a souvenir, as a mark of respect for her. I was quite devastated when I knew that she was dead, and she's just gone. Wasn't there anymore.
March the 9th, 1993. Today my beloved twin sister Jennifer died. She is dead. Her heart stopped beating. She will never recognise me. Mum and Dad came to see her body. I kissed her stone-coloured face. I went hysterical with grief.
For June, a year later in Caswell Clinic, Jennifer's death has brought grief, but also freedom. Freedom from the intense relationship that bound them together, and from which it seems only death could release them.
Would you believe me if I told
So now she has to get on with her life now, isn't it? She has to continue on with her life. This is the part that's also shown in the movie where like she come into her life where she's living. It's a very sad story about these two young ladies to me. I'm glad it is, as I said, immortalized on screen, so you see it for real for what it is. Let me see if the music's finished. Stop playing. Oh, the music's still playing. But now she has to celebrate her birthday by herself. It's not the two of them no more. Let me see. Wow, just playing the music. These are the people who was around them all the time. You know, the doctors and the nurses and all that.
And after some 13 years in secure hospitals, then of course for June it will be a bit of freedom for her. You know, she do what she wants, and within reason, of course. This time, 1993, yeah, this time last year, it's coincided with Jennifer's untimely passing. Of course, it's a year on. It's still, I say, it gets to you. I mean, you still feel, I won't say depression, but it's just the recurring images coming back to you. You know, it sort of haunts you. But hopefully June
June is now 61 years old now. She's still writing books. June is. I think there's quite a few books out, but Pepsi Cola Addict is one of the biggest ones. Like, you know what I mean? But let's hear what the daddy's saying as well. So
I suppose she'll be able to live for both of them and make good. I think that would be a fitting tribute to Jennifer's memory if she can, you know, do something with her life.
After 12 years in captivity, it's a feeling of total freedom. It's unbelievable that I'm actually going out in the big wide world, doing normal things that normal people do. I've been locked up for so long. It's good. Feels good. I feel that I'm living for her. This is what she would have wanted, for me to go on living for her. Every day I wake up and say to myself, well, there's one more day for me, but one more day for my sister as well. And I live for her. And what I see and do, she does as well. She's not missing out on nothing because she's with me.
Isn't that quite a big responsibility?
It's a big responsibility, but it's making me stronger. Because the more I think about her, the more stronger I feel. The stronger I get. Knowing that she is lying somewhere and sleeping, and I'm still alive, I feel that's a privilege, really. I mean, am I lucky or something to be still alive when she's gone? I thought I'd never get over her death, but it's made me 10 times stronger to carry on for her sake.
Joe?
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit anxious or what?
Yes, excited. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, lift it, please.
Yes, you just put it there.
Yeah. Okay.
So So she's finally leaving home. She's finally out of that room, finally living for herself, not for her, but like she says, she's living, but it's really her and her sister. She lives for her sister because her sister is still part of her. So therefore, when she does things, right, her sister will be doing with her, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Although the twins start their dinner at the same time as the other children,
That's like the photograph that we've got.
and the speed at which
What do you think?
Eating a bit slow, aren't we? Eating slow, aren't we?
That's quite fast.
We were playing a game, we were. We were playing a game. Yeah.
Are you? What are you doing?
We were eating first. I bit after talking, and she does it after me. Or something. Now we're eating dinner.
Peas and potatoes, all I could see, and gravy being put on it.
We've got normal there, haven't we?
Did you enjoy the food there?
Yeah, we had quite normal there, haven't we?
Yes.
Everyone's going now. I'm sure for us too.
the dining room is empty. They are left.
How old are we there? 14?
14. 14 and a half. Can you remember this?
Yeah, I think so. She's laughing now.
Yeah.
How old are you, June?
I should remake that one, shouldn't I? And say, how old are you, Jennifer?
Do I try coming there or not?
Not on this film.
Oh.
We only have Jennifer doing this. But the day that we took it, we did 10 minutes with you and 10 minutes with her. But she wasn't specially chosen for this.
No.
And again, I am 14 years old. Right? Good.
Seeing her like that, not knowing that she's actually preparing food.
Oh, that is so good. The how she's able to sit down and watch these films that was done of her and her twin over. I'm actually surprised she didn't literally break down and cry. I think I'd be crying. I think I'd be in big tears because it's nostalgic when you watch back on certain stuff as well. You know, when you remember at that time what you was doing, where you was, all that stuff, you know. And what I like about this interaction here is that how when she tells her how old they was, but then in the next breath she lets her know that how like you both treated the same. There was nobody was treated any differently to the other one. So I feel that's good that she does that so that June doesn't feel that okay, because Jennifer's name happened to be on that card, that she was treated any differently to the other twin.
Every time. Wow.
Yeah.
Strange, isn't it?
Yes.
What do you feel about it?
One big mess. One big mess, and I'm getting out of it now. Bit by bit, day by day, I'm getting out of the mess. But I can't forget it. It's the 12 years that I've been Broadmoor, and the 12 years that I was with my sister Jennifer. I can't forget Broadmoor without forgetting Jennifer. She was there, she played a big part in it. So when I remember Jennifer, I remember Broadmoor. And when I remember Broadmoor, I remember Jennifer. So I can't erase it from my memory every day of the rest of my life.
Maybe we were to blame as parents. I don't know. It's what parents they always have the pick up the pieces. They always, you got to. People blame you, but you all the time you're going to do your best.
I'm still a twin now. And that won't change, will it? She might be like here more. I've born twin and I'll die a twin. That's the way it goes. Hello, Jenny. Some flowers.
Oh, that's nice that they put the Elton John thing over it. So that just shows the time to which they were filmed, that this was filmed. This story, I feel, was a very sad story of two twins, inseparable by how they were born. Knowing that one had to pass so the other one can live. It's just like, wow, that is I don't know what to say on that one, really. It's just, I'm glad that Jennifer realized in the end that how she has to live no matter what, because all those times she and her sister wasn't living. They weren't living. They weren't coming into their ages, their milestones, right? Even though they did discover things later on, but it's like for her to keep writing her books, which her and her twin wrote books and all that, and that's why she talks about what you call it, immortalizing her sister, as she puts it, immortalizing her, bringing her to hold on, this bit in this one where she said, in 1994, the surviving twin June was released after nearly 13 years, which is what we just saw, after being locked up, but she feels her experience in the institution affected her, which I will feel that it would affect you in some way. It will affect you. It would hold on, I want to put them back up on my screen, so I like to put them up on the screen. It will affect you. You won't be the same, you know. You're not going to be the same coming out of that situation. You'll never be the same, you know. Also, what she says, each other day I think of Broadmoor. When I think of Broadmoor, I think of Jennifer, which is understandable, because that your memory is in Broadmoor is inseparable from each other. You know, once again, inseparable twins, inseparable memories, inseparable things. She's still with me after 30 years, and every other morning, I think I'm in Broadmoor. So sometimes she has a feeling that she's there, but she's not there. I wake up in the morning and I hear the jingling of the keys, and it's still with me even to this day. Even to this day, she still feels that she's still in that institution. But, you know, it's sisterly love as well. It's a love-hate relationship, sibling rivalry, all sorts of things going on. Even in the Silent Twins, that's one of the things what they highlight is the sibling rivalry. Like when Jennifer book gets when her writing gets acknowledged, but the other one doesn't get acknowledged, you know, and they make a little sacrifice, like she said, with her benefits money that she give over to her, so that because in the end, right, they both would have started making money anyway. So, and I feel that how, I mean, in that particular video, shall I say, in that particular video or the interview where we see of her going to the grave, talking to the grave, fixing the flowers, still connected to her sister. Like she said, to her, it feels like she's sleeping, you know, and she's there with her. And I feel that alone, that keeps her going, you know what I mean? That keeps her going, knowing that her sister is there. She's there, but she's not there in another form, or she's resting, she's sleeping. And yeah, but I just thought I'll do about the Silent Twins. I didn't want to just do the movie itself, because I found the movie very interesting, but I like to hear it from the horse's mouth as well. But I like to see certain stuff, because the same guy who said he disagreed with certain stuff. He does actually try to work with them. He literally tries to work with the twins. He tries to get them to talk. He tries to get them to do little things. Like he runs the recorder, leaves it, goes off, comes back, you know. And I feel each individual person that have seen them while they were in that situation, they all have a linkage with the twins. So, okay, so I'm not going to keep the live for long because it's already been over an hour, but there is a lot to put into it, you know, like what she died of particularly. I thought that was important to find out why, because even I was curious, because it wouldn't explain what she died of in the movie itself. Now there are many versions, like of every other adaptations of stories, real life stories like this. There's many versions of it, but I feel this actually made me more curious because they didn't really explain. They explained a lot, but yet they didn't explain a lot. The bit where they're in the food hall eating slowly, where they're talking, because I was thinking, like I said, I thought in my mind, why are they talking like that? In my mind, I was thinking there's something up with these two girls. I was thinking that because of the way the speech was, how tightly lipped they spoke, and the actresses that they got to play them was really good. That's the young lady from Black Panther, and I can't remember where the other lady come from, but they chose very well the actresses to represent these ladies, these two young ladies, and even though I've never seen her book, I'll probably just go look for it when I have the time, when everything's settled down on this side of the mountain. But yeah, but with that said, I will leave it at that, and I'll see you in the comments. Tell me what you think of the movie, what they made, what they did with them. Tell me what you think of what was going on between the twins, because I call it sisterly love, sisterly rivalry, other stuff going on. The parents, what do you think of that, especially as West Indian parentage? The shame, you know. So with that said, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.